was mad weird. Like, what's up, everybody? My name's Mohawk Johnson. I'm a black guy, and I don't really like the way I look. So I made a song about it, and hopefully this will resonate with a couple of y'all. We can figure out what to do about it. Okay. I hate my nose, I hate my hair, I hate my skin. I hate my body, but I love what is within. I hate my color cause the Christians call it sin. I hate my lips because they're big, I want them thin. I go to cinemas and I am not within. I go to porno cause they want that nigga dick. I'm not a person, I'm a criminal to them. I am a fetish of even of a friend. I am my father's lips, I am my mother's skin. I am my papa's voice, I am my nana's will. I wish that you would notice I am not my skin. I wish that beauty standards thought my skin was lit. I wish that shorties like me cause of what I did, and who I am and how it be and how I spit. I wish that they would notice I am mad legit, and that the skin I'm in me son instead of shit. I dated niggas that said they only like crackers. I am not sick, so that is not the shit I'm after. While all your ex-boyfriends look like the same cracker. You black but don't like niggas, fuck a grand cracker. I wish that you loved you the way you want them to. I wish your skin was not a fetish for a Bruce. I think I like it, but that you would like me to. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Black History Matters Fest 2021. I am your host, Mohawk Johnson. My tech guy, Cam Stacy, left the room because he is eating microwave tacos that he reheated himself. Good job, Camden. I'm proud of you. I am so proud of you. Good job. He did it all by himself. Yeah, and I just want everybody to remember that Black Lives Matter unless they travel faster than the speed of light. Then Black Lives Energy, which is different. That's a nerd joke that did not land. I don't know who's laughing because I can't see anyone, and that's fine. That's totally fine. It's like I'm speaking into nothing. It's like nothing's there. Oh God, what year is it? Cool. So we have a couple of people coming up today. The format is going to be a little bit different. Today, as far as I know, we are not having a raffle. And I'm going to be talking to two people instead of one. So that's double the amount of guests. Now I know what you're thinking. Yo, that's two. That's like more than one. Imagine it's like a double stuffed Oreo where there's like double the cream inside. So like you win. Audience, you win. You get double the people. You won. You did it. Before I get into it, I just want to thank Q4 Radio for hosting this and helping us out. They have done a lot of wonderful work. Thank you, John. I see you. I see you out there. You're the one. You're the main one. And I would like to start by introducing our guests. We have Dunia and ThoughtPoet. ThoughtPoet being a Chicago photographer, and Dunia, a person who I am not particularly familiar with, but who is going to educate me on the conflict in Palestine and why Black solidarity with people from Palestine is important and good for both of our communities. So I would like to start by bringing up our guests. Come on up here, Dunia and ThoughtPoet. What's up?
What's up? Peace. What's up, everybody?
What's up? How's everybody doing? Cool. So can we first have both of you say your names, your pronouns, so I can make sure to respect those, and so that the audience can continue to respect those, because it was written down for me and I didn't read it because I'm bad at my job. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm bad at my job. And then we're just gonna take it one question at a time. Cool. Yeah, y'all should.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could go first. My name is Dunia, and my pronouns are she, her, hers.
Cool. Thank you.
Chris, ThoughtPoet, he, him, his pronouns.
All right, so we got Dunia, her, hers. We got Chris, ThoughtPoet, he, him, his. Cool. Dope. So Dunia, I don't know much about what's going on with Palestine. I am very uneducated on the subject. I know that Free Palestine seems to be important to a lot of people that I know, and I don't want to burden them with the labor, but I also know there are people who might be watching this who might also be as uneducated as I am. So if you could, would you mind explaining what's happening there, why it's important to you, and why it is important for the Black community and other communities who are minorities to stand in solidarity with y'all.
Yeah, of course. So obviously this conflict has been going on for over 70 years, so there's a lot of history to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll try to sum it up in like the most condensed way I can. So originally the land was called Palestine and was home to millions of indigenous Palestinians. In 1917, the British signed away our land to Zionists, and Zionists are people that believe in a Jewish state, a Jewish homeland in Israel. So Israel didn't exist before 1948. So in 1917, the British signed away our land to these Zionists, these Jewish immigrants, saying that it is a land without a people for people without a land. But we see how that's false because Palestinians were obviously on that land and really erases us from the start. And then in 1948, people will call it Israeli Independence Day, but Palestinians, we call it the catastrophe, because it is when 750,000 Palestinians were forced to become refugees. Zionists were going down, burning down villages, torturing women, burning down houses, demolishing homes. Several lives were lost in 1948, and almost 1 million refugees around the world are Palestinian because of the creation of the State of Israel. And ever since 1948, Israel has slowly been expropriating more land. So taking indigenous Palestinian land and claiming it as Israel. And what is left of Palestine is now just dots on the map. And it's dots because of restrictions of movement, such as the border wall that Israel created, which is a huge apartheid wall, double the size of the Berlin Wall. There's also Palestinian land is also occupied. So if I go there, there's military Israeli soldiers at every checkpoint that will check me or harass me or dehumanize me just because I'm Palestinian. There's little access to water. 97% of the water is undrinkable in the Gaza Strip. Gaza Strip is known as the largest open-air prison. No one is allowed in or out by land, air, and sea. 97% of the water there is contaminated. 97% of the population is depressed. It is consistently bombed by Israel. And then the West Bank is on the other side. And that also, people there are under military occupation. There's no freedom of movement. Palestinian citizens have similar rights to Israeli citizens. And Palestinian citizens are not even allowed to vote for the government that is oppressing them. So the foundation of the State of Israel is racist as a whole, as the foundation relies on the displacement of Palestinians. And then anyone who believes in the State of Israel or Zionism is believing in anti-Palestinian racism, believing that Palestinians do not have freedom, Palestinians do not deserve livelihood, do not deserve their humanity, do not deserve rights. Any person that identifies as a Zionist, ask them if they support Palestinian liberation, and 10 times out of 10, it will be no. So us Palestinians, we are basically fighting not just for our land back, but for our humanity, just to live in peace and dignity and equality to those around us. And in a lot of ways, these systems of oppression interconnect, especially with Black and Palestinian liberation movements. So it is the same system of oppression that is affecting both of our struggles. The same capitalist, racist, imperialist system. So this is really important because the way we resist will coincide together, which is why we need to stand in solidarity with one another. Examples of the way that our struggles interconnect is increased militarization. So we've seen it even firsthand here. We've seen New York police officers go to Israel to train on better tactics to dehumanize people, to beat citizens. So what they use on Palestinians in Palestine, the NYPD went there to study the tactics and come back here and use it on Black folks in the U.S. So our oppressions are interconnected as we are both facing police brutality on two different fronts. So Palestinians face it from the Israeli Defense Force, and we see it here with the U.S. Police Force. There's also heavily in control of the education system. There's appropriation. There's, which is important, the prisoner struggle. So a lot of Palestinians are wrongfully imprisoned, petty crimes, or just the fact that they're merely wrong place, wrong time. There is no criminal justice system in Palestine. There's no laws. There's no justice for Palestinians. Like, if they want to imprison you, you will be imprisoned. My father was imprisoned for a year in his youth because of organizing protests in Palestine. And, there's no prison laws. So he was tortured ruthlessly to commit false confessions every day. This is a topic warning, pretty graphic. They would hang prisoners until their feet would bleed. And then to get them to make false confessions, they would starve them, only feed them salt and water. So we see a lot of prisoner strikes, and we see it here in the U.S. With people who are incarcerated, majority being Black folks in the U.S. So those struggles really interconnect. We see racial profiling. We see segregation in Chicago, especially one of the most segregated places in the world. And then we see it in Palestine, where there's Jewish-only roads. So we see how white supremacy connects abroad and here. We even see it with capitalism, like companies like G4S. They profit off of mass incarceration in the U.S. and in Palestine. So it just shows you how much our oppressions are interlinked, even in any system, capitalism. We even seen moments of solidarity, which is really important. We seen when the Ferguson protests were happening, people in Palestine, in Gaza, Palestine, were tweeting at Ferguson protesters saying, "Hey, we're used to this tear gas. Make sure to run away from the wind. Use milk in your eyes. Don't put water in your eyes." Tips to people suffering from the tear gas in Ferguson. And that was just a beautiful example of the solidarity that these struggles have. We even seen recent with the murder of George Floyd. I seen my family and friends in Palestine where they were marching after one of their own was killed by the Israeli Defense Force. They also put a picture of George Floyd on their banner, and showing how these two people were murdered in 1 week by the same system of oppression. Even going past just U.S. Black liberation movement, we even seen South African apartheid and how that mirrors Israeli apartheid. So we see segregation to the worst extent in Palestine. A lot of South African apartheid activists say that Palestine is one of the worst forms of apartheid that they've ever seen. Even after living through South African apartheid. So an example of this segregation is me, I'm a Palestinian citizen. Even though I'm born and raised in the US, I'm not allowed into Israel just because I'm Palestinian. So I'm not allowed on the other side of the border wall. Even though I'm born and raised in the US, have American passport, once you have that Palestinian passport, your rights are diminished in Israel. So for me to get to Palestine, I have to fly to another country, Jordan, and go through really dehumanizing borders and checkpoints just to get into my village. Whereas Israeli citizens or any American Jew that wants to visit Israel can literally take one direct flight into Israel. Whereas Palestinian citizens are not afforded that same liberty. We've seen a lot in history. We've seen Malcolm X support Palestine. We've seen the Black Panther Party support Palestine. Even in modern day, we see Black organizations like Malcolm X grassroots movement, the Movement for Black Lives, BYP 100, and Dream Defenders all be vocal towards supporting Palestine. And it just shows you how our struggles are interconnected and how it really is important that we stand in solidarity with one another in order to achieve liberation for all. So yeah, sorry, I kind of summed it up.
No, I mean, it was necessary because I had only heard tidbits of it, and I did not know the extent of what was going on. So now that you told me that, I'm also going to do the work to make sure that I understand more. I am in full support of everything that you said needs to be done. And I'm sure as American citizens, we can all speak to this. The second you said the British signed the land away to people it did not belong to, and then people started getting displaced, I immediately thought the Trail of Tears. I immediately thought of what was going on in South Africa pre-apartheid. I immediately thought of colonization, imperialism, and the displacement of indigenous people. I immediately thought of what was happening in South America. I immediately thought of what was happening in Mexico. I immediately thought of all of these global European superpowers who just decide to Louisiana purchase other people's shit and then move people haphazardly. So you're right, that not only does strike a chord, it is the same chord. Globally, it is the same chord. So you have my full support. You have my full backing. And if there's anything you need me to do, I'm gonna give you my contact information, and you hit me up and you let me know what you need me to do so that I can help you. Okay. Word.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You got up here and you spoke facts. So we're yeah, how do you even follow that up? By doing what the piece of paper says to do. ThoughtPoet, it's your turn to say words. Hi.
What's good, bro?
Words. So you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I go by, well, my name is Chris. I'm known throughout the community, the Chicago community, as ThoughtPoet. I'm a organizer. I'm also a photographer. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, what do you want to know? I guess that's the
what do you want to tell me that ain't incriminating?
Shit. Well, as of right now, we are currently working on trying to get folks that are homeless right now resources throughout the city. So I mean, every day is a work day, pretty much. But I also am waiting on the Chicago Reader to let me know if I became the photographer of the year or the photographer of 2020. So that's kind of weird because I don't like waiting on shit.
Yeah, tell me about that. How did that happen?
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know how to really explain it. It was more so like I can explain to you how I kind of bumped into it. So I just kind of saw another photographer, the kid from Pilsen, who's like a really powerful organizer. They were just like, "Yo, I'm just gonna run," and so yeah, I just kind of I was like, "Fuck it, let's do the same thing." And it was just kind of the experience, kind of like trying to get people to support was interesting. I feel like that is something that we all have been kind of very to is trying to like get people to support. And so yeah, I think the whole Chicago. I mean, I rock with the Chicago Reader anyway. 'Cause I was born and raised from Chicago, born out west, raised up south. So like,
oh, you a West Sider?
I was born out west.
So it's not your fault. Okay.
But you know what? I'm proud of it because my biological mother was a four-corner hustler, and out south, when I used to gangbang, I was a GD. So unfortunately, I'm not as Chicago as it gets. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think for me, getting that title would mean something only because like I do make sure I dedicate my work to what the city is. I feel like if anyone has ever seen my work, I don't just take I don't just take photos. Like I try to tell stories through my shit. And yeah, I think kind of like the imagery kind of like just tells the story itself. And so yeah, I pride myself on being able to do that. So, yeah.
Word. Cool. So I'm gonna Dunia, you're local, right? You're Chicago? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, born and raised.
Born and raised, cool. I moved to Chicago when I was 6. So I've lived here about 21 years now. So I've been here my whole life. Like I remember Times Square and then everything else here. And that's about it. So as Chicago people, I'm gonna ask y'all straight up, who's better, Harold's or Uncle Remus?
Harold's all day, bro.
Harold's.
It is Harold's. This is a Harold's.
I have respect for Uncle Remus.
I don't, but okay.
I have but like I said, G, it's a West Side thing. You know what I'm saying? Like if you never got high as hell and was like trapping out west, you would not understand Uncle Remus.
I have never trapped out west. I've never trapped anywhere. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not. People think I'm cooler than I am, and I'm not. I'm just very funny on Twitter. So I ain't done a lot of stuff, but I can understand being high as hell and food being available and it's slapping because it's available. So in that regard, yeah. But like, I lived across the street from the Herald's on 87th, right off of Sangamon. So, and that Herald's was damn near 24 hours. Like some days you woke up at 2 a.m. and it was open. What'd you say?
You're from Chatham?
I grew up in Auburn, Gresham, and I hung out in Chatham a lot. And I went to school in Inglewood.
Interesting.
So I grew up on 87th, right off of Halsted. A lot of my family lived on like 83rd off of Cottage over there.
Yeah, like that was literally my stomping ground. Like I grew up on 91st and Langley, so like.
Okay, you were down the street.
Right down the street.
You was right down the street. Yeah, no, I used to hop on my skateboard and I ride over east, and I'd ride up and down Cottage with my friends, and then I'd come back home. And I went to school on 63rd. I went to school on 63rd and Stewart. I went to Inglewood High School back when Inglewood and Urban Prep shared a building.
Was shitty, yes.
Yeah, when it was, yeah.
People don't talk. People do not talk.
No, it is uncomfortable to think about my experience in jail because I think about high school and them doors and them rooms look the same as my cell.
Yeah.
Right down to like the purple stripe that goes around the room. Bro. Like my school just looked like county. So I was in jail and I was mildly comfortable because it was familiar and like ill. Like actually ill. They were giving us the same peanut butter bars that they was giving us in school. Honestly, when I was in jail.
I was in there, like it was, I don't know. So it was a fucking whirlwind of like shit that happened when I was first of all, like it kicked off like this whole like citywide class action about folks being able to get their phone call when they actually are like arrested. And so I know and myself, we did not get that phone call when we first got arrested. But actually somehow, just that whole like situation. I just remember me and Damon Williams, we were both in the same cell. Like it was a 1-man cell, but we both were in that motherfucker. So like both were also beat the fuck up. So like I let him have the bed and I just fucking like sat in the corner and like mind you, it can't be no bigger than maybe a bathroom. Like
right. So y'all in there tight.
Gee, like
y'all in there tight. Yeah.
I
know.
It was an experience I don't wish on anyone. And the fact that, 50 plus schools right now are tested positive for COVID. The fact that your fucking case is still like a conversation right now.
Right. Like I still got 8 felony charges for aggravated battery. And right. And when they talk about like my charges, they're like, he's violent, he's this. And I'm like, one, a judge said in open court that they can't recognize me in the video. So like if we had a bench trial that day, that would have had to be thrown out and the case would have had to been thrown out because if the case is, this is the video that we think is him and the judge is saying, we can't see him. We don't see his face. We don't see his tattoos. We don't see his piercings. We can't see that skateboard. All skateboards are black on top because that's the color grip tape is. So any nigga with a skateboard, that could have been anybody. That should have been the end of the conversation. It ain't. Because they want to make an example out of me. And that should have been end of it. The fact that like I'm essentially being charged with doing allegedly what police officers actually do to me. Like this whole case is this guy might have hit the cop. We know cops were beating up black people that day because we saw cops beating black people up that day. None of them are on trial. And that's sort of the root of the issue. And they let me sit covered in pepper spray in my underwear for like a day and a half because they took my clothes. Yeah. So I was in a jail cell, like in my drawers with my socks. And they took my shoes, they took my shoestrings, they took my pants, they took my shirt. I was just in a cell in my underwear with like a hospital smock for like a day and a half covered in pepper spray. And like, it's still in my eyes. They didn't, like I got to wash some of it off in the bathroom, but like I was in a cell with no bathroom. So I wasn't no toilet where I was. And then when they brought me to county, right before they brought me to county, somebody from outside brought me clothes to wear. So I was just sitting in the cell in my underwear. So like when you see my mugshot and you see the little smock on me, they took my clothes. So I had to do a mugshot damn near naked. It was the most humiliating shit I had ever experienced.
If I could say so, like, yeah, just like the community that, like, just that whole 3 days, because like when you unfortunately got arrested, folks from Good Kids Mad City, Alicia and Jalen, they were also arrested, and you know, it was just,
I saw Jalen get arrested.
It was
Yeah.
so crazy, and like you were also part of the Southside Weekly article about, you know, like basically myself, you, and others that were kind of like arrested this past summer. And honestly, bro, like I don't know about you, but I know since then, it's been a really, it was a rebirth moment for me. So like since that moment, like I've had to fight a lot of more just bullshit since then. And yeah, I mean, it gets harder, you know what I'm saying? And I know, you know, again, like with your situation, like it's just as hard, you know what I'm saying? If not more. But like, yeah, bro, like I just also just want to commend you for like your ability to just like stay centered, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know for me dealing with my PTSD from getting locked up, like I know I have to create. For me, creating right now is like for real, my therapy. And I know like being a photographer, I mean, I have to like, you know, move around this shit. I don't know what I would be able to, I don't know what I would do if I could not move around. And so like, yeah, I just give you mad of love and respect for just being able to like keep yourself in a center space with like all the shit you're dealing with right now.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, I was in the crib anyway before I got arrested. Like I was only leaving, like going grocery shopping, going to the occasional protest, and then like going home anyway because I was on hard quarantine. Like, so it's fine. I mean, I've been in therapy since I got out. And being on house arrest for 6 months with no trial is weird because I'm essentially on probation for something that I haven't been tried for yet. And that kind of sucks. And you know, I mean, I honestly I look at it every day and I'm just like, if they was gonna kill me, they should have already. Like if they was gonna do that, they was, you know, it was gonna pop off. So yeah, cool. That being said, this conversation started heavy, lightened up, and then got heavy again, which is a perfect moment for me to ask for everybody's social media. So Dunia, if you want to hop on real quick and give us your social media so that we can follow you and support your cause, I'd love for that.
Yeah, so I work a lot with the Palestinian youth movement. We're a group of Palestinian youth that organize like protests, you know, educational campaigns, really widespread nationally. So the Instagram is at Palestinian Youth Movement. And the Twitter is at Pal Youth Movement. But if you just put Palestinian Youth Movement on Twitter, it'll probably pop up. And then the Facebook page is also Palestinian Youth Movement.
Okay, cool. I just followed y'all on Instagram. Cool.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Chris ThoughtPoet, if you want to drop them socials in so we could lurk on your pictures.
For sure. Yeah, so Instagram is ThoughtPoet77. So thought, like we're having a thought, poet 77. And Twitter is thought_poet 77. Also, shameless plug. There's gonna be a kickoff for a fundraiser with Young Chicago Authors, where we're gonna be selling photography, and the proceeds will be going to organizations like Her Chicago, Nita's Love Train, and Good Kids Mad City. So, yeah, just want motherfuckers to know about that. But yeah.
All right, cool. Well, then I'm going to cut it here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for sitting here with me. Thank you, Q4 Radio. Thank you, Her Chicago. Thank you, Nita's Love Train. Thank you, Palestinian Youth Movement. Thank you, Freedom from Mohawk. Thank every organization that was represented here today. Thank you to the activists. Thank you to the audience. And I will be seeing
everyone again here next week for more jokes, more serious stuff. And remember, Palestinian people matter. You know what I'm saying? They important. We're going to free Palestine. We're going to do that because Israel is all fucked up. Black lives matter unless they travel faster than the speed of light, than Black lives energy. Yes, I repeated the same joke because I didn't write any material for tonight. Bye, everybody. I'm muting my camera. I'm muting my mic. Nah.
I hate my color because the Christians call it sin. I hate my list because they're big, I want them thin. I go to cinemas and I am not with them. I go to Pornhub because they want that nigga dick. I'm not a person, I'm a criminal to them. I am a fetish of even of a friend. I am my father's lips, I am my mother's skin. I am my papa's voice, I am my nana's will. I wish that you would notice I am not my skin. I wish that beauty standards thought my skin was lit. I wish that shorties like me because of what I did, and who I am and how it be and how I spit. I wish that they would notice I am mad legit, and that the skin I'm in means sun instead of shit. I dated niggas that said they only like crackers. I am not soup, so that is not the shit I'm after. While all your ex-boyfriends look like the same cracker. You black but don't like niggas, fucking grand cracker. I wish that you loved you the way you want them to. I wish your skin was not a fetish for a Bruce. I think I like you and that you would like me too. But you like white guys, there's nothing I could do.